I sometimes get, because I don't mind the Walmart meat, like the Walmart steaks. They're not that bad. Like, I know that it's probably really questionable where you're getting the meat from, but like, for the price you pay, like, they're not bad steaks in a pinch. So.
They might be Soylent Green, but as long as they taste like meat.
Well, soon enough,
people will
be the only flesh you can really consume ethically.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Press X the podcast, where we have entered the back half of 2018. I can't believe it, but E3 has come and gone. Half of 2018 is in the books, and I mean, at the beginning of July, what can you say except that we have James Paley on board?
Hello.
And also, as always, Trevor Houston.
Heyo.
I guess I'm here too. I'm Paul. I'm the host. And what's up, guys? How was Canada today?
It was excellent. I mean, I got stung by a wasp, which sucked.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah. Which I've got the can of wasp killer sitting on the counter, and I'm supposed to wait until it's evening, and I guess like that lulls the wasp into like a sleepy state, and I'm gonna come up from behind and just extract some revenge. I am going to get revenge on these wasps and kill them. They've got some little nest down right where I walk to my vehicle, and so one of them stung me, and I was not happy about that.
Man, fuck their shit up. Wasps can just fuck right off in every sense of the phrase, because they are just assholes that have no point on this earth.
Well, one little asshole wrecked my Canada Day, so there's that.
How about you, James? Did you have a fantastic day as well?
It wasn't too bad. I spent a bit of it traveling. I was up in Victoria visiting my girlfriend's family, so that was nice. Yeah. Didn't really do any, like, partying, so to speak, but it was an okay time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a pretty quiet Canada today, but went to the ball game on Saturday night, and that's always a good old time.
The Vancouver Canadians.
Yeah, with our short A season Blue Jays affiliate, about 5 levels below MLB, but it's still a great time at the ballpark.
Absolutely. I remember I used to, I don't know if they still do it, but they used to have the Wednesday nooners where, the Vancouver Canadians would play a game at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I used to skip high school to go watch those games. And man, it was a time. It was a time. Outdoors, great park, great atmosphere. Just love going to the Nat to watch Vancouver Canadians game. Love it.
Yep. If you are a Lower Mainland local or anywhere in the Pacific Northwest, you should come up to the Nat and experience the Canadians. Having been to a Mariners game, I'd say maybe the Canadians games are more fun.
Yeah, they're more intimate. Like it's a smaller venue, and you're sort of packed all together. Yeah, it's different, but it's kind of like going to see a concert at like Rogers Arena or BC Place compared to like a giant stadium, and then going to see a concert at a smaller venue. I'm the kind of guy that likes concerts at smaller venues, and I like watching some of the minor league baseball games. You get your ticket for like 10, 15, 20 bucks. You buy your hot dog and beer, and it's just a great time.
And the ball's not bad. I mean, the pitchers are still throwing above 90 miles an hour, and defensively the plays are maybe not MLB quality, but it's still pretty good.
Well, yeah, they're all kids trying to make it to the show, so they're all giving it their all.
Speaking of the show, did anybody play some games this week? You recovered from your E3 hangover to play some games.
Sure did.
James
played a bit of a shit show, I see in the notes.
Yeah, that was New Gundam Breaker, and I reviewed it. My score was somewhat unkind. It was supposed to come out for PS4 and PC, and then they delayed it on PC. And having played the PS4 version, I can understand why, because there's a lot of like frame dips and like almost freezes where the whole thing will lock up for like 4 seconds, but then it'll sort of come back. And the camera's kind of wonky and a whole bunch of other hot nonsense. And I was kind of curious, so I checked the patch notes, and that in itself was kind of a source of amusement, because one of the things they say is that button input response and operational stability will be improved, which is nice and sinister and vague, and unspecified parameters will be adjusted. So
things will change,
cool.
and button response will be changed. That's good.
They don't say what, and I guess it's not that important, even though anybody who plays the game for more than 10 minutes probably feels sort of bad about paying AAA prices for this fully finished game. Yeah, and then I played Rainbow Skies, which was pleasant.
I don't even know what is Rainbow Skies? That's like I know you reviewed it on the PS4, but that's really all I know about that game.
It's a teeny tiny RPG that's a sequel to a smaller one that nobody probably played for PS3 called Rainbow Moon, and it's just like a kind of strategy RPG sort of experience where you can capture and tame monsters to fight alongside you, and the writing's halfway decent and the graphics are kind of wonky, but like I don't mind that because the writing's okay. It was just a sort of pleasant surprise of an RPG. I didn't go in expecting much, and I found something that was actually pretty fun.
Nice. Cool. Sounds like something that maybe has been done before. The name of the series is escaping me, where you capture monsters to fight alongside you. Yeah.
Pocket something. Yeah.
I can't remember.
Come to you.
That's too bad. How about you, Trav? You play anything cool?
Yeah, I'm capturing like things I've played in the last couple of weeks because, of course, as our listeners will know, we've been recapping E3 for what seems like the past month. So I'm trying to capture what I played in the last couple of weeks. So I finished Detroit, and I loved it. And I know there's been sort of a lot of controversy surrounding Detroit, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought the voice acting was terrific. I thought the characters were actually really delivered excellent performances. So it'll score high marks for me, especially at the end of the year when we're doing our Game of the Year podcast. It'll score some high marks because of some of the voice acting and the characters. Story was good. I mean, I felt it didn't end on quite a high note that I had hoped. But, I mean, it gives me a reason to go back and play out some of the different scenarios. Wasn't a huge fan of all that quick time. In fact, there was one sequence, without giving too much away, where it's like 15 minutes of quick time events, and it drove me nuts. I'm just not a huge fan of it. And I think part of my problem is because I'm bouncing from the Xbox to the Switch to the PlayStation, is that inevitably I'll fuck something up, and it just drives me crazy. So, I mean, I don't mind a little bit of quick time here and there, but I found at times during Detroit, it was just a bit too much. But all in all, I feel like I got my $79.99 worth out of Detroit.
I mean, when you got 3 consoles with 3 different locations for X button, it's too much at times.
Can they not all put their heads together and just like have the X in the same spot?
No.
It's not going to happen.
Because fucking Sony doesn't have, well, they're not like ABXY, they're triangle, square, circle X, because they just have to be fucking different, which is apparently their running theme this week.
Yes, it is. And we will get to that.
We will get to that.
What else did I play? So I also I fired up because we I think all 3 of us got a Game Pass. Thank you, Xbox. They gave us these 12-month subscriptions to Game Pass. So I dove deep into that. I tried some Tecmo Bowl throwback because I'm a big fan of the old Tecmo Bowl games. And I guess it's never quite as good as you remember it. Like, it's fun in sort of bite-sized chunks to go back and play it a little bit. But, I am done with Tecmo Bowl. It's just, there's just so many exploits and, it's fun. It's kind of like, I almost found myself buying an NES Classic on Friday, and then I was like, stop. I've played my SNES for all of about maybe an hour. And so, or the SNES Classic. I played it for about an hour, so I'm not going to get caught up in that nostalgia craze. I'll let everybody else buy up their classics. I don't need it because I know I won't play it nearly enough to justify that purchase.
Speaking of which,
yeah.
I actually bought secondhand the Super NES Classic off my roommate for a fraction of its original cost, especially considering how much they go for on fucking third-party sellers online.
Nice. You gonna hack it?
Was hacked. Past tense.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You're in like Flint then.
Oh yeah, man. I'm ready to rock. I got SNES games to go.
Well, I stood in line. Well, actually, I dragged my wife. My wife and I both stood in line for that fucking thing.
That's risky. Really risky.
I barely played it. So, on Friday I came close to like getting caught up in the hype because everybody was talking about they're on sale. Go to EB, go to Walmart. They've got them. Holy shit, you got to go get it. They're gonna run out. And I almost found myself, holy Christ, I gotta go down there and get one. And I stopped myself. Full stop. I won't play it. I have so many other things on my pile of shame that I won't play it. The last thing I'll mention is the Madden 19 beta. I played a little bit of that. The 40 gig beta.
Holy shit.
Right.
Yeah.
It took me quite a while to download that guy, and I couldn't believe how big it was. But they give you different snippets of the game. They hide. It's pretty much the full version of the game, but they've got it hidden. You don't have access to the full version, but they unlock certain portions almost every day while the beta's been going on, which I think is over now. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's more Madden. It's pretty polished. I was impressed with how there are some. It's all about the little details, right? For the Seahawks Stadium for City Link, they have some new condos in the background of the stadium, which have just been developed, and it's already in the game. And I thought that was pretty cool. I'm like, wow, well done, EA. You've got those new condos, which were just built in the last 2 years. They're already in the game. So I was impressed with that. But really, it's more Madden. So there really isn't much for me to talk about there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Such is the state of sports games these days. They're basically perfected. So,
and Paul, what did you play?
Well, I've been playing through Nier Automata on the Xbox One, which is the definitive version, the Become as Gods version. And I'll be writing a review of that, but it's just as fantastic as it was last year when it came out. One of the best single video game scores I've ever heard. Graphically, it runs really, really well on the X1X. Digital Foundry said it is running at actual 4K 60. So that's
shit.
Pretty damn impressive that they got it running that well when it ran like crap on the PS4. But yeah, it's a platinum game where you hack and slash some robots, but there's a lot of heart in there. If you take the time to play through the 26 different endings that you could possibly get.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, 5 of which are important, and you will get if you just play through the game. So. The main 5 are well worth it, and the payoff is pretty great. So expect a review of that one soon. And other than that, I've been playing a lot of Fallout Shelter.
Nice. I haven't picked that up in ages.
I mean,
like on your phone or on?
I've been playing it on the Switch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. After it got released because someone in the audience yelled about it. At the Bethesda show. Just been playing through that, and I haven't played it since they introduced quests and stuff into the game, which kind of makes it a little more interesting. It's still pretty tedious and tappy, but it's a good time to kill a few minutes here and there. So for the price of literally $0, it's not bad at all.
Oh yeah, I played that quite a bit on my phone. And then just stopped playing after a while. But yeah, I was right into it for a good month. And I think it was right after... When did that come out? Was that 2 E3s ago? Or
it was just before Fallout 4 came out. When they announced Fallout 4, they're like, also, here's Fallout Shelter. Right the fuck now, y'all.
Yeah, it was one of those, and it's available now.
Yeah, 3 years ago for the original.
Oh, okay.
That's basically all I've been doing other than trying to tie up loose ends on E3 stuff and somehow paddle my way out of the deluge of news emails that come in every day. Somehow, like a couple weeks after the biggest conference in the industry, people have news. How?
Yeah, it's relentless. Yeah. Yeah, you'd think there'd be like 2 or 3 weeks of just like maybe like 2 or 3 emails in a day of something obscure. But oh no, they are peppering us with emails and more emails and more emails and more emails. Just
I think we got like
an onslaught.
4 days grace period. Like after like the 4 days that started as we were flying home on Thursday. And then like by Monday it was just like, all right guys, it's fucking news o'clock.
We held back all the big news on these Android and iOS games. And
you'll be swiping and tapping until your fingers bleed. Oh yeah.
Well, even today, like it's Canada Day, so I woke up naturally thinking, oh, there won't be any emails today. It's a stat holiday here in Canada. Most people have it off. The Americans mustn't have much on the go. I mean, they got their July 4th holiday right around the corner. It must be dead time. Oh no, I cracked open my email. 43 emails this morning. I'm like, what? You got to be kidding me. Yeah.
It's a sad existence looking at that email every day and knowing that we're just incapable of covering it all. I mean, we'd love to cover it all, but
yeah,
it's just not possible.
Yeah, and it's tough too because we've developed, especially over the years, you've developed some really good relationships with some really fantastic people, and they desperately want you to cover this Android obscure game. They're doing anything to get you to cover it, but it's just like, dude, we have 40 other emails that we've received by 7 a.m. and we cannot cover it all. We cannot physically cover it all unless we had like a news team of 500. Then maybe we could, but we don't have a news team of 500 people.
We could do a thing where we just sweep up all the Android and iOS announcements into one big pile and just rattle them all off in like a 600-word news article once a week. But like, all right, guys, it's your phone game roundup. You're on the train, you're on the bus, you're bored off your tits. Here you go. Play these motherfuckers. It's gonna be so good. Yeah, and then the PR people are like 20% satisfied because they probably want like a video review and like a fucking bit by bit breakdown, but instead they just get like 3 lines in this like auctioneer style article. But you know what? We're only so many humans over here. So,
what if we only cover games whose app icon is something other than a angry guy yelling towards the right?
Well, we'll cut our fucking input in half, that's for sure.
Yeah. There's basically no games that don't have that, so I think this is a good strategy going forward.
Well, it's angry guy yelling, and then it's like hot anime girl of a troubling age bracket, and there's like no third category.
Troubling age bracket, I like it.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, I'm a dragon spirit. I'm actually 1,000. You are fucking teen.
Well, why don't we just move right ahead and talk about all the Android news that's going on in the world?
The news.
I lied. There's no Android news. It's nice to have that call out back, Trev. It's nice.
Right. It's been a few weeks.
It feels good. So the nominees and winners of the Game Critics Awards for E3 2018 have been announced, and Anthem won a ton of shit.
Right. Yeah. Right. Like, fuck. Yeah. And it'd be nice. Like, I'm just gonna go off. It'd be nice if we could have played the game as well, so then we could give our like sexy hot take as well. Like, I see it. It's been nominated for Best of the Show, which is great. But EA, why did you not open this game up for all the media? Like, not just a select handful. Like, so frustrating. I'm sure it's wonderful. It looks like it's a lot more of Destiny 2 and even a bit arcadey with the way some of those score hits are. But yeah, I'm just a little bit PO'd. We didn't get to play it. Like, what the hell? So we don't even get to weigh in on how good Anthem is. But the critics apparently love it.
So one thing to note with the Game Critics Awards is that the game has to actually be playable in order to win an award. So if you're looking at the winners, which we also have on the site, not just the nominees, Aaron posted the winners today, the winners had to be playable. So, like, Best of Show was Resident Evil 2.
Huh. Wow, and Sekiro, I didn't think Sekiro was playable. Interesting. Because it was nominated. It was nominated for Best of Show.
I remember Garrett talking about the badass mechanics. Did he get hands-on, or was it just a theater demo?
I thought it was just a hands-off demo that I wasn't aware of him getting hands-on time with that.
Maybe they're committing some fuckery in their qualifications listings and just being like, oh, somebody played it, so it's playable. You know?
Yeah, maybe.
Because for me, it was a really hands-off E3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely was. Yeah, there was lots of sexy games, but not a lot of sexy games to play.
Maybe somebody was at the Sekiro theater thing and said, hey, can I touch that controller for a hot second so we can nominate this thing for Best of Show because it was playable?
Brush the fucking face buttons with one of my fingers. I played that game. It was so good. Yeah,
I displayed the map and it was amazing. Anything else of note that stood out to you guys on this list? Like, all the Anthem stuff is pretty upsetting.
Yeah, a lot of Anthem that we did not get to play is on there.
Hey, Trev, did we get to play Anthem?
Oh God, so frustrating, so frustrating. You know what I did like? There's a thing that I liked on here: best hardware peripheral and that Xbox adaptive controller. I cannot say enough good things about that cool controller that I had on my lap at E3, which I thought was just amazing and just such an awesome thing that Xbox, Microsoft are supporting. So it was cool to see that nominated for best hardware, best action game. Oh look, Anthem again. Best action adventure. Assassin's Creed got a nod. Spider-Man was awesome. Yeah, I mean it's all the games we talked about quite a bit in detail. There's more sports games than I realized, but yeah, and there's nothing else that we haven't really covered in detail over the past couple weeks. So people have to go back and listen to episode 22 and 21, which I think are the two E3 episodes.
Yep.
Yeah, go back and listen to those. Download, listen, share, like, do all that.
One thing I want to note is we actually had this discussion about whether Moon Studios counts as an indie dev for Ori and Will of the Wisps because Microsoft's publishing it. And Game Critics did award it Best Independent Game, so we could have given Ori Best Indie Game.
Oh, well, there you go. And I think I was one of the naysayers. I was one of the, no, it can't be an indie game. Xbox. Evil Empire's repping that one. Like, we can't consider it an indie game. Yeah, I will admit when I am wrong. I am wrong. We should consider it an indie game.
I'm not upset that we gave it to Tunic though. That one-man show definitely deserves a nod.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to play it, but now I want to so badly because it looks fucking beautiful.
One thing that didn't look so beautiful was Mass Effect Andromeda.
True.
And apparently I didn't realize that the reason why it did so poorly is because of a crowded review environment. Like, I didn't realize that's why it did so poorly.
Yeah, was it because there was too many people coming out with too many good games, and that's the reason that their facial expressions and animations looked like a fucking mistake from God? Is that what happened there? BioWare?
No. It had nothing to do with the game. It's because it was a crowded review environment. That's apparently why it did so poorly. I never played it.
He did admit that Andromeda is a deeply flawed game.
Okay, that's good. I approve.
Yeah,
of them admitting that.
Andromeda is really weird because, like, I reviewed it for the site and I gave it a pretty high score because when I played through the game, I didn't encounter any of the bugs that people encountered. And when you're under embargo, you don't really know what anyone else is experiencing. So
No, you're one of the first ones playing it. Yeah, you don't have
exactly.
that. You're not able to check in and see what all the chatter and the buzz is.
Yeah, like when all the reviews dropped, you're scrolling through all the reviews at 12:01. I'm like, wow, I'm basically the high water mark because I didn't see any of these bugs. I definitely saw the shitty facial animations because those were garbage. But yeah, I had a way different experience with Andromeda than I think almost everyone else.
Yeah, and then on the flip side, you also had a way different experience with State of Decay 2 because apparently you played the game. Everybody else got the like free hand job edition that we didn't fucking have access to.
And it was the best-selling game in May. Go figure that one out.
Yeah,
God.
I guess they sold out of the rub and tug version, and you just got the regular.
I did not get offered any of that service. So, I mean,
Oh, man.
that's worth at least 20 or 30 points on your score. So that would have put me right in line with the Metacritic average.
Yep.
But yeah, it's nice to see that BioWare is owning up to the problems that their last game had, and hopefully that points to Anthem being fucking rad as shit when it finally comes out on not February 22nd, because it's definitely going to slip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Almost certainly. Something that has slipped indefinitely is Amy Hennig's Star Wars game.
Yeah, she's leaving EA and starting her own small studio, from what I see.
Yep.
Which, I don't know. I guess I question, and I don't really know all the specifics, right? We only see the headlines, and we don't get to really dive deep and find out why someone's making a particular career change. But I remember when I heard she was leaving Naughty Dog, I felt that was... Now, she wasn't fired, was she? She left on her own accord?
Yeah, I think her game was kind of on the ropes, but I think she left of her own accord.
So going from Naughty Dog to EA is already a little bit of I would call that a somewhat questionable move. I mean, Naughty Dog, they're everything they touch is gold, it seems. And then now she's leaving EA to start her own indie studio, which is, hey, great. That's great. But again, wow, it's I think she's looking at doing something with a really small team, maybe dabbing into VR. She needs to be telling us big stories, for AAA games that we all want to play and see. So I don't know. I find the news a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, I think she's undoubtedly one of the best storytellers in the industry.
Right.
So, but I can see where she's coming from. Presumably she left Naughty Dog wanting to do something a little bit different and ended up getting shoehorned in doing the same thing with the Star Wars logo and just couldn't make it work. Just didn't want to do it anymore.
Well, and EA was probably
fucking
fucking her around. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course.
There was. What did they say? They felt it was too linear, the original Star Wars game she was working on, and so that kind of got scrapped. So she probably doesn't like being controlled by the man, which who does? But maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know.
Well, all those terrible, terrible linear games that have been coming out lately, like God of War. They're awful. They're just shit, and we shouldn't be making those anymore unless we could throw a boatload of micros on top.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that whatever she comes up with, even if it's in the space small studio affords her, is probably gonna have a pretty measurable impact whenever it gets finished. Although if she really does end up going into VR, then I wish her all the best, and I'm super sorry that her future career is probably fucked. But like, I'm sure it's gonna be great.
Yeah, maybe that now that she's sort of a free agent, maybe Naughty Dog will come back to her. But they might be at a point where like, we don't really need her at this point. We're already making these games that are telling fantastic stories. So I'm sorry, Amy, we don't need you right now. Maybe there's a little bit of that. Who knows? I'm sure there will be some company out there that'll offer her buckets of money to come write something for us. You know what I mean?
I'd really like to see what she can do in an indie studio and do something really weird, like, imagine Amy Hennig's version of Kentucky Route Zero or something. Just something really tiny and that she could beef up with her unique brand of storytelling, I think that could be possibly more impressive than whatever Star Wars thing she was working on.
Oh yeah, she could knock it out of the fucking park if she so desires.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, moral of the story, Amy Hennig's pretty cool, and she's doing her own thing now.
Yes, she is. All the best to her.
In the not so cool category is Sony for their Fortnite bullshit.
Well, yeah, they're not there. I know that basically Xbox and the Switch are shaking hands. They're like, hey, you can play up, you can go up against Switch players on your Xbox and vice versa. And they're tweeting out all these happy, fuzzy tweets about them working cooperatively together to do crossplay on their consoles. And Sony, meanwhile, is like, we're good.
But here's the thing: last generation, when it was Sony getting curb stomped with the PS3, they were all about doing the crossplay. And the difference this time around is that Microsoft has just made it like a very public commitment to always have crossplay, whereas Sony, when they were doing it in the past, were just kind of doing it, and the crossplay just sort of happened. And now that they're the top dog, they don't have to anymore.
No, they really don't need to. Like, do they really need to? I know everybody wants it, and everybody's angry at Sony for not jumping into the ring, but do they really need to do it?
I think they're... Sorry, go ahead, James.
I was just going to say, I think the story takes a slightly different tone, because I've heard they were talking about like Fallout 76 probably not having crossplay with the PS4 for what I have to assume are similar reasons, and it sort of seems like a bad move, just because like some of these franchises that they're like choosing to like play the exclusive club game with are gonna bite them in the ass. Like, Fortnite is bigger than you, Sony. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm sorry. You can't you will lose this dick measuring contest. I mean, at least for the next 4 to 6 months or however long this game lasts. And like Fallout, much as they'd like that to be a fucking Sony experience, is 100% not. And I mean, it's possible they'll be able to weather this and any other blips in the fucking radar, but it's also possible that enough big name games are going to come stomping down the fucking aisle and announce crossplay with everybody but them in the loudest voice possible, and it's just going to make them look bad. Like, it's not like it felt like a power play at the time they made it, but I feel like that's in the long term will prove otherwise.
Yeah, I think they will get muscled into it eventually with this Fortnite thing, especially now that someone at Epic has said, hey, the work is already done, they just have to turn it on.
Oh, fuck.
It's literally a flick of the switch.
Yeah, like, they just have to say allow and it would work. So, yeah, this whole money talk and it's technical, that only goes so far when someone can prove that that's not the case.
Well, yeah, and like anything, if the anger, if the voice and the anger sort of keeps up, eventually you'd think they'd buckle, but you never know with Sony. You just never know.
Well, I mean, this is kind of the era of like, put your money where your mouth is, or like, I guess what I'm trying to say is that, just like Paul mentioned, it's really fucking easy now for people to find the evidence you're trying to hide. So if you say, oh no, it's a technical thing, we can more easily than ever point out, no, it's not. You're just being difficult. And that sort of story will play out in that sort of way over and over again, if only because people are more willing than ever to basically flip for the fucking publicity, feeling like they can ride it out or survive even a termination if they get enough like Twitter fame off of being the fucking whistleblower for a story like this. And I mean, that's not going to be a unique situation. People are going to be doing this to any company or development team or publishing firm that decides they're going to tell a fucking story that is not necessarily factually accurate. I feel like it's just going to play out that way over and over and over again. until they, get wise.
Yeah, I think probably like the consumer-friendly thing to do, which has kind of been Sony's MO lately, with the whole PS4 reveal and, used games and all that stuff. I think that eventually they will make the right decision, but they're doing some serious damage to their stock price in the meantime.
Oh, has that actually taken a hit because of this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I did not pick up on that.
It took quite a dive when that news came out. I think the news happened during E3, so not a lot of people were reporting on it too much, but it did take a bit of a dip, a little dippy dip. Well, it's two pieces, but it's one piece of news that we've got left over here, and that is the free games for this month. And
it seems like it's another month where PS Plus has a stronger lineup than Xbox.
It is not even close. This is a crushing Sony victory because they're offering Heavy Rain and Absolver, which looks pretty rad. I'm surprised this hasn't been on my radar before now, but it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, they're definitely two games I want to jump into. I missed, or I might have played the demo, and that's about it. E3 demo, that kind of thing. A demo in passing. I don't know where. I don't know when. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to really play Heavy Rain in its entirety, so I'm really looking forward to doing that. Once I'm finished with Rise of the Tomb Raider on the Game Pass, that's my next assignment. I'm gonna hit up Heavy Rain. But yeah, Absolver does look pretty cool, and I know nothing about it, so.
Oh, and it looks like on the PlayStation front, I did a tiny bit of independent research just this moment. And they're putting out some weird-ass fucking PS3 game. Deception 4, The Nightmare Princess, is going to also be on the free list, which is great news for me and all the other huge weebs out there.
The Nightmare Princess, that name alone it intrigues me. It intrigues me. I want to know what it is. I probably don't want to play it, but I want to know what it is. So please report back.
Scantily clad women in high heels beating the shit out of each other. I don't know. Was that... Did you want something else? Because there's probably not.
That's perfectly descriptive. Yeah. There's a big fan base there.
Yeah. I mean, well, okay, actually, it's scantily clad redheads in super high heels wandering around dungeons with crazy traps. So, I mean, still good, although, like, slightly less good, unless there's some, like, other... Heroin V heroin fucking combat happening later. I don't know. I'm definitely going to download it. That's right. I, James Paley, the huge fucking Wii, will absolutely download this game for PS Plus.
I'm very glad to hear it. On the Xbox side of things, I feel like these games have been on their free games list before. Assault, Android Cactus, and Death Squared.
Well, and I wonder how they pick these games. Like, do they go through like the stats and do, like, they sit around a boardroom and they're like, okay, which games are making absolutely zero money in sales? Let's pick two of those games and throw them on the monthly list, because they're like, what? I've never even heard of those two games.
I know what Death Squared is just because I think I probably wrote about it once like a year ago, but I think what they probably might do, here's a counter guess of equal evidence. Probably they'll get things that had strong sales for the first week, but then just drop the fuck off. Where it was like, it was good for a bit and then it just died out. And they're like, hey, maybe we can strike lightning twice if we give it to people for free, which actually doesn't make us any money, but I don't know, fucking business math. And then it just makes things better for that developer, I guess.
Things look a little better on the backwards compatible front with Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown and Splinter Cell Conviction. So those are both pretty good games.
Yeah, in all fairness, for sure. Those are two pretty solid games.
But they're old-ass games. Whereas Sony's kind of throwing the big shit around these days. I guess that's probably in response to Game Pass, but they're still definitely winning the free game head-to-head battle every month.
It feels
Black
like
Ops 3 is still free until like a week from now.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that
That
too.
was the E3 drop. That's right.
You're hot for that sort of thing.
Well, maybe we should talk about the releases that are coming out this week.
Fantastic.
It's pretty thin here in the post E3 era, with Red Faction Guerrilla Mars Turd.
Oh, I see what they did there.
Oh, THQ Nordic.
Remastered. Oh.
Very clever. Very clever. I have no idea what this game is.
I don't
Red
really
Faction?
have much interest in that one either.
My understanding is that it's a first-person shooter with destructible environments, which was a fairly big fucking deal back when the series first started in like 2001 or whatever, but is not as uncommon now. And so
Yeah.
anybody who's on board the fucking hype train for the Red Faction series is probably just like a franchise fan and is not really hopping on for the unique mechanics because there aren't any.
Just watching some video of this one here. It looks okay.
Yeah, I feel like it's worthy enough. I should go out and request that one. We should be reviewing that one. And I see it comes out tomorrow, so my request is definitely not timely. We like to request these things well in advance, not the day before.
Sometimes things just go unnoticed. Like, for example, a couple years back, we just completely whiffed on reviewing Axiom Verge, which turned out to be one of the best Metroidvania games ever made, but we just didn't review it because it didn't come up when we were looking around.
And sometimes like this year, I believe, James, it was you requested Celeste for COGconnected. COGconnected.com. That's COGconnected on Twitter, COGconnected on Facebook, COGconnected on YouTube, on the Instagram. I am your company man.
That was a butter smooth insert, by the way, Trevor.
It was. I'm going to cut that one out just in case you're ever not here, Trev.
No, I got to get that in every single pod. And then I completely lost my focus on what the hell I was
about
talking
Celeste.
about.
I requested it.
Yeah, right. So
they
you
didn't
requested
respond.
it. Yeah, we got the old ignored, which happens. We're not IGN. We're not GameSpot. We're not a giant publisher that just gets whatever they want with a snap of the thumbs, snap of the fingers, snap of something.
I would like to hear a snap of the thumbs. Like,
wait, I'm trying to put. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. No. Not with these dick fingers.
No, it's just not happening.
But yeah, we don't. Unfortunately, we try to get all the games. We try to cover all the games, and we aren't always able to cover everything. But we do a pretty good job. Our little team does review on average. We review somewhere between 35 and 45 games per month, which is unbelievable when you sit back and think about it. We have over 2,200 reviews on Metacritic, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, the team works unbelievably hard on reviews, like it's a rare day that a review doesn't go up on COGconnected.
Yep, it's we have the best team in the world right here.
Damn right we do. And to go back to Red Faction briefly, watching some more video of this, the destruction looks pretty cool. It does look pretty neat, like guys hammering pieces out of a bridge. And it's reacting pretty realistically, physically. So this looks not bad.
Well then,
what else do we got? Wolfenstein 2 on Switch.
That's good news. That's a rock solid game. Nice to see it on the Switch for sure. And somebody's covering that for us. I can't remember who off the top of my head, but somebody's on it. Somebody is.
Well, I heard that they did some pretty hard work to make it run pretty well, or pretty close to the way it does on the other consoles, which is awesome.
Yeah, much like the work they did with Doom, which is nice to see that developers are dedicated to getting things working correctly on the Switch and not just dumping a bunch of crap all over it.
Yeah, well, I mean, this Switch is kind of a hot commodity, and so if you're gonna attach your name to it, you should do a decent ass job, or else people will cluck their tongues, you know?
What else we got? Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy on the Xbox One.
Right, and our very own Alex Everett is currently reviewing that one, and I know he's not, what's the word? He's not thrilled about it. Now, he never played the original Crash game, so he's kind of going at this from the perspective of somebody, fresh to the franchise, or relatively fresh to the franchise, and yeah, he's finding it very unforgiving. He's not, that's an issue. So yeah, he's not as thrilled as some of the people that are Crash fans that have been looking forward to this game ever since the announcement. I mean, it's been out on the PS4 for a while, but Xbox owners have had to wait. And I think PC as well. PC and Xbox have had to wait. But now they can go get it, and Crash fans can be happy, but those new to the Crash franchise, play the demo first.
Yeah, they're tough-ass fucking games.
Fucking
and just
right
because
they
it's
are.
brand new and it's got that HD shine on it, they're going to kick the crap out of you, and you need to understand that going in, or else you end up like Mr. Everett.
Yeah, they will slap you square in the face repeatedly and mercilessly. And, I mean, that's the way games used to be. It's just all there is to it.
He's having a difficult, like, when he was trying to explain it to me, he's like, I just don't like the way the camera's positioned behind Crash, and I'm running, and I can't really gauge the depth perception, and right at the last minute, I have to make a jump, and it's, like, barely time for you to react, and I'm like, dude, that's Crash. Like, that's the way the game is. So, yeah,
and... Well, yeah. Last and probably least is The Crew 2, which it sounds like Garrett basically hates.
Well, Aaron's reviewing it, but Garrett's doing the video review for that one. But right. I don't think either one of them have particularly enjoyed it. I mean, it's always sort of a red flag for me when a game, especially a game like The Crew, which is, I would consider it almost a AAA racer, like right up there. Like that was quietly released right after E3 and nobody was talking about it. And to me that's a red flag. To me it's like, oh, wonder why nobody's talking about it. Why isn't Ubi pimping the shit out of this racer? And they really weren't. And I think we're seeing review scores that reflect that.
Why? What's the specific problem with it? Like, what's people's big beef?
She just found overall the lack of polish. And I think a lot of the times too, and this is not to say that this is what Aaron did. I mean, I think people play Forza and it's so unbelievably awesome and polished, and there's really hardly any flaws with anything about Forza. And so when you play that and then you jump into Crew 2 and you're like, oh, it's a little rough around the edges. Oh, it's got some bugs. Oh, man, that's like some of these, textures and visuals are a bit, bland. I think it throws people off and it disappoints. So,
well, I mean, Forza Horizon is definitely the target for the Crew 2. That's the market they're going after. It just happens to not be very good at doing that. It seems like it's pretty ambitious, but they didn't follow through on almost anything that they wanted to, which, it's not necessarily the developer's fault. It's just the way things turned out.
Yeah, she had issues with the voice acting. She found that the world lacked personality. She wasn't crazy about the story mission and felt that the AI had issues. So those were just some of the items in her review. I mean, she gave it a 65, which according to our scale, that's okay. That's supposed to be okay. But in video game land, for developers and publishers, anything lower than an 80 is a disaster. So,
everybody's fired.
Yeah, the studio's closing. But yeah, 65 is where she landed. And in our world, in our industry, a 65 is not a flattering score.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's walk away from this sadness and go into a couple of emails. that I scooped out of the inbox.
Ooh, we love the emails.
Mm-hmm. So this first one comes in from Liam, who says, "Hi, PressX team. With Shawn seemingly leaving the area where much of the COGconnected staff are located, will he be throwing a big shindig at the place before he leaves? If so, you guys should definitely hold some kind of in-house tournament for the YouTube channel."
I fully agree, Liam. Shawn should be hosting a big shindig, and we should be YouTube living that on the channel. I fully agree. It's the least Shawn can do, since basically the guy's owned, in the last 6 months, he's owned 2 houses. He's apparently got 6 boats, unlimited vehicles. Like, it's the least he can do is throw some kind of a big shaker for the entire team.
He's basically spent the last half a year with God mode enabled. So, he's got 3 days left to invite all of us over. And, right. We'll totally trash the place and film it. If that's at all possible, it will happen.
It's a great suggestion, though, Liam. I really feel that we need to act on that.
We appreciate.
Yeah, I second that notion.
Yeah, we really appreciate that you understand where we're at on a moral level, and yeah, we respect your thoughts. And second up is an email that comes in from John that says, "Hello, PressX crew. People have been waiting for some properties to come back with a great new installment, even if they know it will never happen. Splinter Cell, a real Halo game, Half-Life, Portal, Prince of Persia, Castlevania are all examples. I've complained way too much about my favorite franchise, and now I'm wondering if there's a property that you guys would love to see come out of the rubble."
That's hard to say, because a lot of the stuff that I've been really hot for in terms of like childhood franchises coming back are sort of coming back, but not for a while, or maybe not in the format that I'd like. I have a complicated love-hate relationship with Mega Man, and 11 looks fucking dope.
Yeah.
So, that's great news on my front, and I've kind of given up on Metroid. I'm sure Prime 4 will be fantastic, assuming it's still a real thing and not, like, hastily being transformed into another fucking battle royale.
Yeah, Metroid was the one I was going to say, not because... Well, I think Metroid Prime is its own thing. I'd like to see them go back to the 2D Metroid and try to reinvent that. They did it already with Super Metroid, and then people have been following that for the last 25 years. So, can your genius Nintendo brains come up with something that is the new Metroid in 2D? I think they probably could, but I don't know if they ever will.
Well, Koji Igarashi's trying as hard as he can to do another Metroidvania. So Nintendo could very well get his team together and do another Metroid-type game.
How crazy would a Metroid game developed by Igarashi be?
Too good for this world. As soon as it went gold, the volcanoes would rise up from the ocean and obliterate our fucking civilization from the map, so...
I'd be cool with that.
Careful what you wish for.
I'd be cool with that.
Yeah, if I get like 15, 20 hours of playtime before my hometown is turned into a fucking slate, big like flat sheet of lava rock, then that's fine.
I'd keep playing, even if my shoes were on fire, the house is on fire, brimstone is raining from the skies, I would continue to play.
Sure.
Yeah. How about you, Trev? You got any franchises that you'd love to see back?
Yeah, I'd like to see Splinter. Splinter Cell's one I'm surprised it wasn't announced at E3, because the rumors leading up to E3 suggested that we were going to see a new Splinter Cell game. So yeah, that's definitely one I'd like to see come back. I look at John's. All those are great suggestions, but I've almost given up on Half-Life and Portal. Fans have wanted a new Half-Life and Portal for what seems like an eternity, and it's just doesn't feel like it's coming anytime soon. And it would be amazing if one day we woke up and that was announced that it was coming. So
I feel like Half-Life is never happening, but I would not be surprised to see them develop a VR Portal.
Yeah, that would make sense. It really would.
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. I think that will probably stick with me for a while. So if I come up with anything, I'll bring that back for next cast.
Yeah, I feel like I need to like sit back and look at my library of games that I've played over the last 20 years and like, is there something out there that I've played that I've loved that hasn't come back in some shape or another in recent times? And it seems like the games that I've really loved and enjoyed, they come back in some way. Kind of like James suggested, there is some sort of announcement, and
games
I'm
like
gonna have to give that one a little bit more thought.
Yeah, games like Shaq Fu, they do come back. Yee.
Like a giant turd, it came back.
Apparently that one's got some extra shit with the physical edition that is exactly as cringy as the rest of the game.
Go on.
Well, apparently there's like a Barack Obama fucking extra adventure that players who have the physical edition get. It's called The Adventures of Dirty Barry because they have no sense of subtlety or like appropriateness. And I don't know anything about it, but I do know that actual Shaq Fu, Legend Reborn, got the garbage fire kind of ratings that you don't see all the time on our site unless something is the absolute worst. And so I'm excited to see how they'll fuck up this DLC. I mean, I won't play it, of course, but somebody out there will, and they will have many words.
All right, we'll look forward to the conclusion of the Shaq Fu trilogy sometime in the coming years, weeks and months and years. With that, let's move on to the perfect list. We haven't done one of these in like months.
Ages.
1,000 fucking years. All right.
So we've just entered the back half of 2018, and we're halfway to 2019. So why don't we come up with the 10 best games of the year so far?
I like it.
I think this will be pretty
gems.
Easy. Yeah,
it's gonna be an easy list. Yeah, we don't have to think too hard for this list. That's okay because I'm still exhausted from E3, so it's nice I don't have to think too hard.
I think basically any of us can go first because the first one is going to be an absolute gimme.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, it's how can it not be? How can it not be God of War?
Yeah,
how can it not be?
It has to be. It's God of War.
It has to be.
I don't even know how to describe it. Like, that story has stuck with me for so long after I finished it, and I didn't expect it to. They really leaned into the storytelling in a way I enjoyed, and they changed up the gameplay just enough that it didn't remind me of the past games, and that's exactly what I wanted out of it.
I feel like that's one of the truly flawless games I've played in the last 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's nothing I can find wrong with it. Like, nothing. It is just flawless. And it's a game that every PS4 owner needs to play. Like, it's kind of you just have to play it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my pick. So now it looks like we're going around the horn.
Let's go clockwise and go to James.
Okay, I think my next pick is probably going to be Dragon Ball FighterZ, just because it's accessible, it's fast-paced, the animation is incredibly fluid, it feels like an episode of the fucking TV series, which is delightful, but at the same time, there's just enough like technical meat on the bones of this thing that you can really spend a lot of time with it if you so desire, and kind of perfect your fucking strategy. It's that right mix of easy to pick up and hard to master that people really look for in a fucking online fighting game that's going to give them that sort of like long-term experience for like weeks, months, and years to come, which is perfect.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun to play. Even if you're terrible at fighting games and just mash, it's incredibly entertaining, and I seem to remember that it's getting quite a bit of traction in the competitive community, which is nice to see too for an Arc System Works game.
Yeah, they don't normally get that kind of attention, although they do have a lot of worthy entries into the genre.
Yeah, they sure do.
Paul's pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Far Cry 5.
Why not? I feel like that's a gimme as well. Like it's definitely worthy of being on like everybody's top 10 of 2018 so far list for sure.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what other game can your two sidekicks be a grizzly bear and a mountain lion?
Right, Cheeseburger the bear. What a great name for a bear. Cheeseburger.
Oh, he just
has the diabetes.
Yeah. He just wrecks fools. And the story's a little silly, but I think it does have a message to deliver and a story to tell if you're willing to hear it. I think a lot of people, when they reviewed it, weren't that willing to give it the time of day just because of the trappings of the trailers and the run up to the game. They weren't willing to listen to what it had to say, but I think it was a pretty effective story in the end.
Right, and it was a lot of fun. It had a great progression.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun.
Yep.
And I love sort of going around, taking down those encampments and it's one of those games where you could just drive around and do things at your own pace, and yeah, I loved it. It was Ubisoft did a really nice job with Far Cry 5.
Mm-hmm.
One of my games of the year for sure.
It's nothing that we haven't seen before, but it was all executed really, really well.
Absolutely. I guess it's my turn. I'm gonna go with a game I didn't even play.
Shit!
I'm not because I know we gave this a super high review score. And I know that everybody else gave it a super high review score. It's been well received. I don't know if any of the three of us have played it, but I've heard nothing but amazing things about this game. But Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire. I've heard nothing but amazing things. If I was a PC gamer, which I really am not, I would be all over this thing, and I think it needs to be in our best games of the year so far. And those that have played it and reviewed it would probably agree with me.
Yeah, I haven't played the sequel, but I did play the original. And if you're the kind of person who loves a traditional RPG, especially in the Western style, it's definitely going to be right up your alley. There's a lot of text, to be honest, but I think the character development and whatnot is really strong. That's, of course, talking about the first game, because I haven't played this one. But it is something that's on my radar for sure.
James.
Okay. I'm going to go with BattleTech for my next pick. Mm-hmm. Because although I haven't played it, I know people who are literally obsessed with this game, who had to work extremely hard to tear themselves away from the BattleTech experience in order to give literally any other game on Earth any sort of attention. Like, they had to physically wrench themselves from their computer in order to find some other purchase or some other game experience, because the BattleTech experience was so completely engrossing. It's got a super engrossing, absorbing sort of single-player campaign and narrative, the depth that you can go to for like the combat strategy and the various paths you can sort of follow to victory are varied enough that like your average obsessive compulsive gamer will spend a crazy amount of hours just doing all there is to do in BattleTech. Mm-hmm. And the presentation is slick as fuck, which is also a huge upside.
Yeah, I think it was you that described it quite a few weeks ago as giant fuck-off robots fighting each other, which is
that's right.
a perfect way to describe this game. And that's definitely on my 2018 shame pile, as are a lot of things that I'm sure will end up on this list. I guess it's my turn again, which means that I have no choice but to pick Into the Breach.
Ooh,
yeah,
another game that's getting a lot of buzz.
Yeah, from the developers of FTL. I mean, it's a turn-based strategy game, and it's about as simple as you could possibly make a game, but it is so engrossing, and the variety in the gameplay makes it super tense every single time you play it, because it's got that roguelike structure to it, where every move could be your last if you don't think about everything, and you very rarely think about everything, so you are almost always on your heels, and I really appreciate that about the game. It's one that I never got bored of playing when I was reviewing it, and even afterwards, like, put a ton of hours into that game, and it's super, super good. Everybody should try it out if you like turn-based games.
All right,
Trevor,
I will go with
your next.
I will go with Monster Hunter World, and again, another game that was reviewed extremely high from everyone. I mean, we're 93 reviews in on Metacritic, and its average is a 90 on PS4. So that's impressive. What can I say? It's complex. It's the best Monster Hunter game out there. Capcom needs to be extremely proud of what they've done. It was a game that everybody was talking about for a solid month, and that's all they were talking about. And so I feel it belongs on our list. Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, there's just a shit ton to do in that game, and there are so many systems. When I was playing it, I probably maybe put like 20 hours into it, and I was still running into systems that needed to be tutorialized because it's just that dense. And it's definitely the most approachable Monster Hunter game that's ever been made, but still super, super dense, and there's a ton to do if you like to go and slay beasts with your friends. That's a awesome option.
okay. I think next on my list is going to be the Red Strings Club.
Ooh, I want to play it so bad.
And you should all not only want to play it, but play it, because it's a cyberpunk adventure, which everybody's going to start looking for more of, that they've missed in the ensuing months or years before 2077 comes out. And I super promise that this will be an exceptionally entertaining and fulfilling jaunt into that fucking world while you're waiting for the, ultimate expression of the setting. It's heartfelt and powerful and fascinating, and the gameplay mechanics, the ones that are there, are actually really fucking interesting. And when I played through it, I managed to get from start to finish in a few hours, and if I wasn't a guy who reviews games for a living, I would probably have gone back and played 2 or 3 more times.
Wow, that's high praise.
That is high praise. Now, is that available on consoles or just PC?
As far as I understand it, I played it on PC, and I think that might be the only place where you can play it. But the pixel art and the simplicity of the mechanics suggest that this thing could probably run on a potato.
So is this? It's like it's a point and click adventure, basically, right?
You are correct.
Cool. Wow, I'm gonna have to check that out. Maybe this week. This week I'll check it out if I can.
And Paul, your last pick, make it count.
Boy, this is tough. How do we feel about including remakes?
Why not? It's the perfect list, and it has to be the perfect pick.
Cool.
And Paul, your pick is next, and it's got to be perfect.
Well, this pick is perfect, and that's Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, no, that's definitely worthy.
Yeah.
Sure.
Man, I don't even know what to say about this game. It just stuck with me for so long, visually and auditorily, I guess would be the word. The music and the sound effects and kind of the loneliness of the world really stick with you, and the gameplay holds up super well, even though this is a 10-year-old game at its core. But it's a super satisfying little jaunt into an open world where you feel super free, but you're still quite directed, so you're never lost. And Shadow of the Colossus. If you haven't played it, or even if you have played the original, you should pick this one up because it is freaking gorgeous.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent pick. Perfect pick.
Trev, close us out. Make it perfect.
Well, I wouldn't consider this game perfect by any stretch, but it's definitely had an impact on me. I In many ways, like God of War, it's a game that I've been thinking about ever since I've been playing it, and I'm gonna go with Detroit. Yeah, I feel that it's not perfect, but overall the overall package was rock solid, and I did enjoy it and found it was one of the better games I played this year. It won't win Game of the Year, but to make our it squeaks into our top 10, hence the last pick. And I feel that just the character and the voice acting alone and just the visuals, like it's a graphically stunning game. Get it into our top 10. Yeah,
nice.
So that's it.
That's one I definitely want to play through with the wife, because it's so...
it's like a movie.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's something anybody can connect with, and it's a great place for people to enter the video game genre that haven't been exposed to it in the past or haven't really connected with it before.
It's actually a great suggestion. I don't know if my wife would go for it, but it is a great suggestion.
I'll just read the list back, because this is 10 pretty freaking great games. God of War, Far Cry 5, Into the Breach, Detroit: Become Human, Pillars of Eternity 2: Dead Fire, Shadow of the Colossus, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Red Strings Club, BattleTech, and Monster Hunter World.
Those are 10 rock solid fucking games.
Yep, absolutely.
I'd call that list perfect.
Absolutely perfect.
Perfection.
Yeah, and if we were doing this list 2 weeks later, you know what would absolutely make that list? Would be Octopath Traveler. I played through the demo since the last time we talked, and it's so fucking good. Holy shit. I'm so excited for that to come out. The voice acting and the graphics and the combat system and the fucking freedom of choice have all got me salivating for its release in the middle of July.
James, we might have to have an Octopath spoiler cast at some point.
Yeah.
Just go so far down the rabbit hole.
I know
totally
there are a lot of staff that want that one. I will be begging for as many codes, review copies as possible, even if I have to promise 25 videos and 25 different articles. I will go after as many codes as possible when I pitch Nintendo our Octo coverage.
I will personally, happily, easily account for like 7 to 10 of those videos.
He's talking a big game. And that's pretty much it.
All right.
This felt pretty...
Said it all.
I mean, it felt short, but I guess that's because our previous casts had to cover everything and everything.
Yeah, when you're not talking about everything under the sun, you can do it in less than 2 hours.
You guys got any parting wisdom for the viewers, the listeners at home?
Yeah, email us. Email us your comments. And where can they email us, Paul?
Well, that would be pressxpodcast@gmail.com. That is pressxpodcast@gmail.com. Alternatively, get on our Facebook group and just send us a post there, because then we could write you back right there. Or also talk about it on the cast. Some of both.
Do all the things. All of them.
Do all the things.
Yeah, if you had a good time with us today, please go give us a review, give us 5 stars, because that really helps us to get in front of lots of other people and just enhance the quality of content that we can give you on a weekly basis every week until the end of time, unless something comes up and we can't do it. Until next time, we've been Paul, James, and Trevor, signing off from COGconnected HQ here in Vancouver, British Columbia. Peace out, everybody.
Peace out.
Goodbye.
That's a